Hi and welcome back. It's been too long again. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, just ignore him. I just needed him for moral support. This is the strange death of Teteteke Gqontsi. I'm really sorry. I'm just gonna refer to him as T. Okay, because I don't want to disrespect any more than I just did. 61-year-old T lived in South Africa. He had 6 kids, so I assume he was just a normal guy, normal father, you know, that kind of thing. But on the 5th of October 2017, he went into hospital for abdominal surgery. He was then transferred to Stellenbosch Hospital to recover. Stellenbosch is where he lived. So all went well, supposedly. The nurse went in, she was doing her routine checkups and everything like that. She left the room. I think she left to get like laundry or something, linen rather, doesn't really matter. But anyway, she wasn't gone very long, but when she came back, he was gone. It was said that she was gone for a short period of time. Don't know how long that is, but anyway, regardless, he was gone. Now, you just had abdominal surgery, you probably can't really move very well. You're not really looking to get up and go for a little walk. So, weirdly, instead of just being like, you know, normal and reporting this to the police or anything like that, they actually kept his disappearance a secret, the hospital did, for 2 days. 2 whole days of not telling the outside world what had happened. I mean, I hope they were actually looking for him, instead of just being like, I can just imagine the nurse being like, right, Mr. Huh. Did anyone see the guy walk out of here? No. Okay. Well, lunchtime, I guess. Yeah, I think they were looking for him, like, inwardly. They just weren't telling anyone about it. Finally, on the 7th of October, so obviously 2 days later, they did let people know. They actually called the family and asked them if T was at home. Now, obviously, just imagine that. You think your dad or whoever is in hospital just recovering from straightforward abdominal surgery, and you get a phone call from the hospital and they're like, yeah, hi, is that T's family? Yeah, it's the nurse from the hospital. Is T at home by any chance? And you're just like, what are you talking about? He's recovering in hospital, right? Oh, yeah, well, yeah, looks like he's just gone. So, kind of reminds me of the time, this is on a slightly smaller scale, I took my old dog to the groomers and she'd been there for like an hour and a half, and then they phoned me and were like, oh, we have an appointment for your dog to be groomed, like, are you going to bring her in? Like, and I'm like, I already have, what have you done with her? But it was fine. Somehow they just stuffed her in a cage and forgot about her, so that was great. But anyway, yes, so they were insistent that T was in the hospital, and they were like, okay. So the family panicked, rushed up the hospital to look for him, obviously. The family searched everywhere. They searched everywhere in the hospital. They searched all around the hospital as well. And obviously there was no sign of him. The nurse who last saw him said it was about 5:15 in the morning that she popped out of his room, and that was the last she saw of him. So the family got, I mean, bear in mind that was 2 days ago, okay, at this point. So the family got the police involved in searching the hospital, but they just had no luck whatsoever. So on the 20th of October, okay, 13 days after that, like 13 days after they were searching for him, his body was finally found. And that was only because they had construction workers in doing renovations on the hospital, and one of the workers found his body, wait for it, in the ceiling, and no one knew how it got there. Obviously, that's not really a normal place to sort of find a patient. So from what I gather, everything was a little bit vague. The autopsy said that he didn't die from the operation or any complications or anything like that. But they also implied that it wasn't a natural death, but they didn't really say anything else. So they weren't like, he's been murdered or he died naturally or anything like that. So, and can I just say as well, if he did die from the operation or natural causes, how did he end up in the ceiling still? Like, that's still a question. So how did he die? Was it murder? Was it, were they covering up for him dying from the operation? You know, did the nurse go in there, see him dead, call the doctor, and the doctor was like, oh shit, I left like my spanner in there. And then they were like, oh, what do we do? Stick him in the ceiling. I mean, it's the whole like in the ceiling bit for me. Because why? Surprise, surprise. How does Cilla Black say that? I can't remember. But anyway, so this man was not the only man to be found dead in the ceiling of a South African hospital. Okay, now I bet you thought he was. On the 10th of May 2019, in a different hospital but still in South Africa area. So 53-year-old Sandile, whatever. Sorry. A construction worker. He went to hospital with a shattered right femur. So basically he was helping a neighbour with some construction work and then a wall fell on him and he shattered his femur, which must have been bloody painful. This might be important to note, but that injury left him unable to walk. Okay, so like the previous patient who was, I call it like physically disabled, I guess, at the time. So anyway, he was originally rushed to Mahatma Gandhi Memorial Hospital in Durban, but doctors then transferred him to Addington Hospital for specialist orthopaedic care. Okay, everything seemed normal at this point. Sibia's cousin went to visit him in hospital after him being in there 2 days. He said that he was in good spirits, everything was fine. He said that he was going to be transferred that day for imaging and consultation. But then when the hospital came to collect him later on, guess what? He was gone. Just gone. Not in his room anymore. Gone. However, this hospital was a lot more on the ball, which was good to hear. They immediately started to look for him. There was no hesitation. They called the police. They got them involved. Everyone was searching every inch, every nook and cranny of the hospital, but no luck. But obviously they forgot to look in one place, didn't they? They even checked CCTV. Now I'm guessing obviously there is no CCTV in patients' rooms. That would be a little bit unethical. Interesting if there was CCTV though. I'd love to see what the F happened. So he was missing for 6 days, so slightly less time than the previous. But they began to, staff those, began to smell something a little bit off. It was coming from a hallway near a janitor's closet. And they went to investigate and they saw a black liquid oozing through the ceiling. And what happened when they went up there to have a look? They found the decomposing body of Sibia. Bit of a coincidence, right? 2 men who shouldn't have been able to walk, found in the ceiling, dead. In South African hospitals. 2 different ones, yes, but still in South Africa. And there was just no explanations. The staff were just as baffled as the families. Like, how does nobody in the hospital know what happened? Somebody knows. Someone, at least, knows. So, let's listen to some theories, shall we? So some people say they walked off on their own accord. They couldn't in theory walk, especially the guy with the shattered femur, right? So they walked off and ended up wandering into the ceiling and accidentally dying. Of course, yeah. That makes perfect sense. Because I often, when I'm like in the hospital, I often think to myself, do you know, I really would love to get inside that ceiling and see what's going on. So that's a load of bullshit if you ask me. Other people say perhaps they died from medical negligence, so as I said before, a doctor leaving something in them or something like that, and to cover up said thing, they hid them in the ceiling. Now again, it's a bit far-fetched perhaps. I mean, can you imagine like being a patient or a fellow staff member walking past and just catching a glimpse in the corner of your eye of a doctor and his assistant stuffing a body in the ceiling? You'd just be sort of like, yeah, and just carry on. I don't think so. They could have done it without being caught, obviously. For the first example, that seems like something that could have happened because obviously they didn't report him missing for 2 days, which is suspicious in itself. So that kind of makes me think of a bit of a cover-up, perhaps, if you really want to go there. Or maybe some freak was just going around murdering patients and stuffed them in the ceiling. But again, like, how do you not get caught? Because A, you've got to murder the patient, you have to take the patient. If you're a man on your own or a woman on your own trying to take this dead body and put it in the ceiling, that's not easy, I imagine. Not like I've done it, but I can imagine that's not easy. So again, it's like, I don't know. Everything's just gone quiet about them. Like, there's been no investigations made public and everything's just gone quiet. The hospital is just performing as normal, new patients coming in, going out, whatever. No one's been punished, no suspects have been named, no one has been held responsible. Like, literally, it's just like nothing ever happened. And it's just people like me and other people doing videos about it that are intrigued, and that's it. That is literally all they have, and their families, obviously. So what happened? What do you think happened, guys? I need to hear your theories because I don't really have one. I feel like it must be murder because there's no way they're getting up and walking up to the ceiling on their own for no reason. I mean, come on, let's be realistic. So yes, those are the weird stories of 2 South African men who were found dead in hospital ceilings. So, cool. I really hope they get closure, the families, at some point, because that is baffling. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, as usual. Take care of yourselves. If you have to go into hospital, stay away from those ceilings. And, yeah, see you soon.